Let's talk Tairawhiti regarding our long-term plan, but before I carry on, I'll just ask Uncle Rutene to Sunny, sorry. Star. Oh, Sunny. Who's Sunny? Star. The other one. Star, yes. Have a karakia for us.
Okay, kore whanau. Kei hoa ke te pātai wātau ki a koe me titiro mai koe rungi a tātou i tēnei rā. Ana ke whakapai upi tāre tātou hui mō tēnei taki o tātou. Tēnei kaupapa o tēnei o te kaunihana. Nō reira e hoa whakamoe me tuku mātou ki a koe tēnei rā a ke tunu a ke āme. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Wonderful. Okay, so we have our staff here led by Mrs. Judy Campbell, and some of our councillors are here as well, so welcome to yours. Thank you for supporting, but most importantly of all of you that have come here today. And it's a time to sort of catch up on what the council does have in mind, but also to actually grab some of your views in terms of how your contribution in your particular sectors can actually enhance the future of our place. I was just thinking back, this is a bit scary. This is my third 10-year plan, but I haven't been on the council for 30 years. Okay, and so things have sort of developed and changed. Some things have been brought forward. Probably in the last 10-year plan, the biggest thing for us was actually infrastructure, and the wastewater treatment plant was actually completed. But now we have other expectations that maybe the wastewater treatment plant was a step, a journey, because people are looking at our riverways and where the overflow goes in times of heavy rain. But anyway, today we're going to talk on a number of topics, and Steve, thank you for coming. And also with Jeff. Yep, kia ora, Jeff. Jeff is something. Yeah, and I've got Mike and Fiona. Guys, welcome to Gisborne as well, and other people, celebrities that's come here today. But the next 10-year plan is we want to actually invest a bit more into community infrastructure right throughout the Tairawhiti. We do know that core infrastructure is still important. Our pipes are still important. Because usually the things that are below the ground, kia ora te atu, harama. Usually the things that are below the ground or unseen are the things that we don't actually keep an eye on. But we definitely know when something breaks or blocks up. And so we've got to be mindful that asset management of our place is important. Now, is this supposed to move? Or not, hey? I don't know. This is the boring part, isn't it? Yeah. What are you going to do? Authentication. Yeah. How many people got heaps of passwords and heaps of usernames? Yep. Ah, so we're all onto that already. Oh, very good. For me, this is one of the milestone projects and a very exciting project where we celebrate our stories of who we are, where we come from, and also the whole community can actually participate in this. And as you can see, this is not a Gisborne-centric project. This is a project that will start in the Gisborne, it will start in the harbour area, and it will spread out like tentacles right throughout the district, right to Hicks Bay, Portaka, right to including Wairoa. The Wairoa District Council is doing their Port Hauia, and they've come on board also, and it takes in some of the areas like Portaki with the Pakihi track, but the Pakihi River actually comes right up to the Motu as well, and that's where the waka of the eastern Bay of Plenty used to come right up to the Motu area, and that's why the people in Te Taitanga Mahaki are very close to the people in Te Whānau Apanui. And so You probably read in the paper $5 million from the Eastland Community Trust to support us in this project. If we never got the funding, this project would never have happened, because we cannot actually afford as a council to actually put your money into things that we like. We are very blessed to actually have the Eastland Community Trust to support us on these projects. So hopefully we might start around about Christmas time. So this is the Lone Star, and it'll come along right down to the Slipway, and then it'll go along there somewhere right to, yeah, the Slipway. I'll show you some pictures, because this is like picture kucha, very quick. And here's the Slipway. This is going to be, needs a resource consent, but it's going to be modified, and this part here will be cut in half and put over here, and that's to allow the ships to actually come in one at a time, or two at a time, one parked on the berth and another one to come through, so that one that's parked doesn't have to actually go back into the ocean to allow the other ship to come into the second berth. And so, and from there we'll build a this is a sculpture of Ruapani, and it's done by Matt Randall, and the funding's in place for this, so he's starting to start the project. He started the project already, and also there will be a bridge of some sort that will go from here to there, and that will be our primary part for docking our ships, or the lighters that actually come from the tourist ships that come into the bay, so they won't have to pay any harbour fees, and then they can just light off over here, and whether they go from here to there or walk right along to Lone Star and enjoy some other stories. We hope to actually one day change and not be part of the Auckland anniversary, so we have our own anniversary for that day. The 8th or 9th of October, the day of the first meeting between Māori iwi and Captain Cook and his crew. So with that project also is the Inner Harbour project, and we're working with the Ngāti One Gisborne District Council, Ngāti Porou on this side of the river to actually beautify that place up. Don't expect too much parking in that area. We do encourage people to walk. It will be a pedestrian friendly area, and when we go out of town we tend to walk, but Gisborne people tend to like, oh, can we park outside please? And if we can't park outside we get annoyed. But I'm just giving you a warning now that there will be less parks in this area, and it'll be a great place to actually park on the other side of town, maybe down Keys Street or Reed's Quay or something like that, and just walk across the river or park over to Hirini Street, those streets. So this is in our 10-year plan. We've allowed for that in our last 10-year plan, $3.1 million, and hopefully that will complete all of that area, including all those things. So we've got Derek Lardelli. He's involved in the cultural aspects of the stories regarding the navigation project, so he gives us advice to, rather than just put down structures that are straight and maybe meaningless, and you've seen some of these beautiful structures that are like in Taranaki, where they've got a whole cage of stories and fish and all that sort of stuff. And so actually what's happening in the present time, people actually go on holidays to destinations for stories and walking and cycling. And so we want to create that opportunity for all of us. And as you would know, the Tūranganui River is actually the shortest river in the southern hemisphere. This may happen. So this is the last thing actually on the project itself in Gisborne. but it is a significant bridge in terms of the only rail bridge that crosses a river in the southern hemisphere as well. Titirangi is one of the key recreational spaces, areas in our city, and it'll be fantastic, and I've just indicated to Judy that we should plant as many native food trees so they actually attract the kiriru and tui and the kaka, and maybe the huia might come back. You never know. So I think that's all. Maybe not a moa, but definitely a huia. And this sort of is a dream for this area here in terms of what could happen. If you look back in the photo news back in sort of like 1965, they actually had a competition. And in the competition, this guy actually had this huge thing that actually stuck out about 2 or 3 stories on top of Titirangi back those days. But the council chose to build some ships in the middle of the street. So that's what the council, but this will be full of stories, and hopefully, you never know, we're looking at maybe a one-way street one day, one-way road, to allow for safe pedestrian access as well as motor cars, but have to go out through Endcliffe Road. And who uses this place at the present time? A few? Well done. It's a great sweat out. So those are the things that will be happening on there. The other thing that we will be looking at is actually the whole Kona vision is actually bigger than just the Kona vision from the monument. It is a whole plethora of areas, senses of places where it actually celebrates all the stories of navigation and not just Captain Cook. So we want to make the whole area the vision area for our place, and we'll be talking to various stakeholders including HPT, iwi, council. Just want to acknowledge CAG, Cycling Advisory Group, for their contribution to the plans. Now, since the government have announced the $100 million, I said to Judy, I said, we better be ready to grab hold of some of this money. So let's hope that we can. And if you play the YouTube, there's a YouTube thing on YouTube, eh?
Yeah, on our Facebook page.
On your Facebook page, if you play, it's about 5 minutes, and it'll show you where all the walkways are. Now, what is the name of that YouTube clip?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll post it up later. So all these connections will lead up to all the different stories. I mean, this is a navigation story itself, you know. It is a memorial for the soldiers that went overseas, so it represents navigation, and it's been fixed up at the present time. And then it leads to the museum and Sea Company House as another group of soldiers of the Māori Battalion, Ngā Kaupoi, that went overseas and came back, and so that'll be opening on the 15th of November. You're all most welcome to come. And then the museum itself has a whole lot of stories of Tairawhiti, especially on the right hand side when you go in, and then there's a surfing and all that sort of stuff. This is the Hawaii ki tūranga. It's quite large. I hope the people in Coronation Street doesn't mind that it actually sits in front of their place. It's about 8 metres, about two odd stories high. And these are the future sites of enhancement, from Whangara mai Tawhiti, where the whale rider was filmed, to the Tokomaru Bay Wharf, which has been scoped out at the present time in terms of a business plan, and also our responsibilities as owners of those wharfs of Hicks Bay and Tokomaru Bay, that we need to know what is the condition of those. So we're getting a condition report. Here's the look of those wharves here. Somebody said to me one day that they actually like coming to look at ruins. Why do we have to fix everything up? Okay, so this is just another perspective. I mean, we do go and visit ruins. So Pilot Hill and Rangi Haua, Pa, Wairo, Whangara, all those areas there. and we've got a bit of a governance structure with governance and project sponsors and advisors and that sort of stuff on there. Regional branding, fundraising, project delivery. So there's the timelines. It's all in our internet anyway. And so those are the costs of that. The majority of that is going to be grant funded. And so that's us, that's me. Are there any questions regarding that? Or comments people wish to make? I think it's going to be pretty huge. Although I might have got my spend per cruise ship incorrect, Ken, but at least it's still money. Still money coming to our district, and I do want 50 cruise ships to come here. If Napier and Tauranga can get that share, why can't we? And so we need to actually have product. And so the product of navigation with the Hoki Tūranga could be coming back in 2017, a beautiful meeting house, the oldest in New Zealand, which belongs to Rongo Whakata, and that was taken away by the Crown back those days, and hopefully it will be returned back. And anything sort of within, I reckon, an hour's drive of Gisborne is attractive to the cruise ship people. If you're thinking of something, don't be afraid to actually charge. It's good to charge because people want to actually pay for something, they want to get value out of something. If you give too many things for free, then you'll be coming to the council wanting money. And we don't have money. We only got money to build things, and we want you to charge. No.
Partnering up with the 250-year celebrations in 2019, how important this project is to people, because some of it really must be done before those celebrations.
The 8th or 9th of October is going to be a milestone day in the history of our existence here in terms of who we are today. And a lot of these projects, Tairawhiti, he's got the Waka Haurua project, getting a Waka Haurua into the Tairawhiti. There's other projects that complement it, but it is a celebration of that day of conception, the first meeting day between iwi and the people of the Endeavour. And that's why we are here today. And so there's going to be a number of legacy projects. We just don't want to have fireworks and marches down the street and people make things. We want projects like Steve's projects that are going to be there forever. We want heritage sites to actually start to become World Heritage Sites if we can actually get them, to be part of our product list of things to be proud of, and also for our visitors to come and see. Yes?
You speak about the museum improvements. Has the Cape Wiley Cottage completed its renovation yet?
I understand that the museum is going to approach us for funding assistance, either through the council owns the wider cottage, so it will have to be the council that applies to Lottery Grants Board to get some money to fix the veranda and the other issues that have closed the cottage in the meantime.
Yeah, it's been closed for a while.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Spinks. Anybody else?
I mean, mine, you went through a little bit on the cruise ships. Is there any reason why the council or whoever can't commandeer Shed 3 that keeps saying for lease and use that as a focal point for when these tourists come in? Nice Maori welcome, music and toilets and away from the heat and the rain and everything. You know, we're trying to make it is commercial, but you know, the basics things still. But is the opportunity there to convert Shed 3 into something that could be used for all these things we're talking about?
Yeah, there are always commercial opportunities. The whole notion of navigation is to actually also have ancillary businesses, and I was just at Ngai Tāmanuhiri today, and they said if the walkway goes from Gisborne all the way to the Whero and somehow can cross the Whero into Muriwai, they would love to actually have a huge deck area where they can serve coffee, and you're looking at Te Kuria Pawa, and they can take you around to tell their stories as well. So Gail, if there's any commercial opportunities, I'm sure people will
I
seize
wasn't
them.
highlighting really on the commercial, but as a base for the tourism side.
We want them to go all over town, love.
But then again, our local enterprises could utilise that as
Yeah.
well.
It's food for thought. Yeah, good ideas. Do write your ideas down. Is there a place to pin them down or something like before?
Harley?
It's on the table.
You got paper?
Oh, they're on the table. Write them down.